State governance. Article 2, Section 1. State sovereignty. Each state maintains its own authority, independence, and rights, except for those specifically granted to the federal government. States have the right to defend themselves against foreign invasions. This self-defense continues until the federal government intervenes with its own military forces.
State governance. Article 2, Section 2. Interstate friendship and cooperation. The Citizens' Constitution strengthens the bonds that unite us as one people. To ensure that our union remains strong and prosperous, we must foster mutual friendship and cooperation among the states. The free inhabitants of each state, with the exception of fugitives from justice, are entitled to all the privileges and immunities enjoyed by citizens of other states. This means that regardless of where you were born, you have the right to travel freely throughout our nation and participate fully in the life of any state. Moreover, the people of each state have the right to engage in trade and commerce with other states. This freedom of movement and economic exchange is essential to our nation's prosperity. However, it is important to note that this freedom is subject to the same rules and regulations that apply to residents of each state. To ensure that justice is served, we must also cooperate in the pursuit of criminals who flee from one state to another. Upon request, states must extradite fugitives to the state where the crime was committed. Finally, we must recognize the importance of honoring the legal decisions of other states. Full faith and credit must be given to the records, acts, and judicial proceedings of courts and magistrates throughout our nation. By upholding these principles, we can strengthen our union, promote prosperity, and ensure that our nation remains a beacon of hope and opportunity for all.
State governance. Article 2, Section 3. State legislative powers. The Citizens' Constitution grants essential powers to state legislatures by the people. These powers are fundamental to the effective governance of the states and the well-being of its citizens. State legislatures have the authority to levy taxes, duties, and excises to generate revenue for the operation of their government. This revenue is used to pay debts, provide for common defense, and ensure the general welfare of the state. It is important to note that all taxes must be applied fairly and equitably. The legislature has established that taxes should be based on a sales tax on all products and property. This ensures that everyone contributes to the cost of the government in proportion to their consumption. Furthermore, the legislature has set limits on tax rates and discounts to prevent excessive burdens on the citizens and businesses. These limits ensure that the tax system remains fair and reasonable. The state government also maintains financial reserves to ensure fiscal stability. The legislature has established a state financial reserve, which is used to accumulate funds for future needs. When this reserve exceeds a certain amount, any excess funds are distributed equally among the citizens. Additionally, the legislature has created a citizens' financial reserve to benefit from discoveries and joint ventures undertaken by the state on behalf of its citizens. This reserve ensures that the profits from these endeavors are shared equitably among the citizens. The legislature has also taken steps to ensure that grants, scholarships, and subsidies are used effectively and efficiently. These programs are limited to a duration of 3 years and must be approved by a majority vote of citizens. Finally, the legislature has the power to borrow money on behalf of the state. However, this borrowing is subject to strict limitations to prevent excessive debt. Any debt incurred by the state must be repaid within 10 years. By exercising these powers responsibly, the state legislature can ensure that the government is efficient, effective, and accountable to the citizens. This provision will ensure a prosperous future for the individual states or territories.
State governance. Article 2, Section 4. Elections of representatives. The times, places and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof. No state shall be represented in the United States Congress by less than 5 members, of which 3 members shall be representatives in the United States House of Representatives and 2 shall be representatives in the United States Senate. No state shall have any influence or interference in their free election process from any individuals, organizations, corporations nor dignitaries that have not lived within that state for a minimum of 7 years. If it is found that the free election process has been violated, those that have been found guilty of violating such process will be imprisoned for a minimum period of 7 years and shall receive a minimum fine of $20,000.
State governance. Article 2, Section 5. Representation. This section aims to redefine the representation structure in the United States Congress, ensuring diversity in representation and aligning the compensation of legislators with the economic realities of their constituents. It emphasizes state sovereignty in the selection process while introducing stringent term limits and compensation caps. House of Representatives. Each state sends 3 representatives elected by the state legislature every 3 years. States can choose to have more representatives in their states based on their population. Representatives must be 25 years old, native-born citizens, and residents of their state for at least 7 years. Each state appoints 3 representatives, 1 from the majority party, 1 from the minority party, 1 from a city over 30,000, 1 from a city under 30,000, and 1 from Native American nations. States can replace representatives as needed. Territories have 1 voting delegate each. Senate. Each state sends 2 senators elected by the state legislature every 4 years. Senators must be 30 years old, native-born citizens, and residents of their state for at least 7 years. Each state appoints 2 senators, 1 from the majority party and 1 from the minority party. States can replace senators as needed. Term limits and compensation. Representatives and senators serve at the pleasure of the legislature and the citizens of the state. Compensation is limited and tied to the median wage of the state's citizens. Legislators cannot increase their pay without citizen approval. There are term limits for serving in the state or federal legislature. Retirement benefits are based on years of service.
State Governance. Article 2, Section 6, Oath of Office. Each state's executives, legislative members, and civil officers shall take the following oath or affirmation upon the Bible. I do solemnly swear, or affirm, that I will faithfully execute this office of this state, and will to the best of my ability, preserve, protect and defend the Constitution of the United States and the state respectively against both enemies foreign and domestic, so help me God. Any member of the state's executive, legislature and all civil officers of the state under them, shall be removed from office on impeachment for, and conviction of, bribery, other high crimes and misdemeanors or violating Article 5, Section 3 of this Constitution.
State Governance. Article 2, Section 7, Treason, Impeachments, Violations of the Citizens' Constitution. Concerning the investigation and enforcement in all acts of treason, impeachments, any or all violations of the citizens' constitution, and elections of the United States and the states respectively. The duly elected county sheriff or constable of each state shall have complete jurisdiction and control over any agency or military branch with the exception of the Supreme Court of the United States. They shall enforce the punishment by law of the results of such trials. Whenever additional help is necessary, the county sheriff or constable may request such help from any government agency, military branch or may choose to deputize law-abiding citizens as needed to perform any investigation and enforcement under this section. The county sheriff and constable of the state shall take the following oath or affirmation upon the Bible. I do solemnly swear, or affirm, that I will faithfully execute this office of this state, and will to the best of my ability, preserve, protect and defend the Constitution of the United States and the state respectively against both enemies foreign and domestic, so help me God.
If you would like more information, check us out at citizensfreedomnetwork.com. Thank you for watching. And as always, we appreciate those that follow, subscribe, and like. Thank you. Have a good day.